Really appreciate the quality content. Happy trails, Ryan Clark. Well, Ryan, thank you for being our millennial representative, as we are all middle-aged men here, and we appreciate you coming on and also recognizing the incredible Van Halen legacy. Yeah, well, in regards to this, I probably would say my bootleg collection, along with my t-shirt collection. I have a lot of Van Halen t-shirts, and I also have a lot of bootlegs. Dave and I would say, like stuff that we can use. We like stuff we can read, we can watch, we can listen to, we can wear. We're not exactly ones to collect stuff for collecting purposes. I don't have any room to display anything. You know, my wife's not really into that. So what do you say on your end, Dave?
Yeah, I really don't have a lot of memorabilia per se.
Right.
I have a lot of bootlegs.
Sure.
Which I love listening to. And I should really, now that I'm home, I should really take advantage of that fact and start cranking out more of those bootlegs. But yeah, as far as collectibles, I barely have anything. Yeah. I'm not a tchotchke guy, as we say here in the Northeast.
Yeah,
I mean, exactly. I have like a couple of pictures with the band.
Right, yeah, that's true.
That I have, but that's really about it. I don't even think I have vinyl anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bootlegs. That's about it for me.
Yeah, me too. It's mainly, I have books, I have videos, I have DVDs, I have t-shirts, I have hats, and I have bootlegs and albums and CDs, of course. But, you know, I have vinyl bootlegs, and I have CD bootlegs, and I have cassette bootlegs of all things. But anyway, on to letter number 3, and that is coming from Southeast Nice Guy Kurt Lancios, and he says, Dave and Dave, greetings and salutations from Hotlanta once again. Love the Balance 25th anniversary episode, and thanks for giving us quality content. Question for you, have you ever considered getting an interview with keyboardist Jesse Harms? He probably has a lot of great stories since he was in Sammy's band for a couple albums. Additionally, he played on some tracks from David Lee Roth's Eat 'Em and Smile album. Those 2 items on his resume are definitely enough to give him a spot within the Van Halen family of artists. Just a thought, stay safe and healthy. Until next time, Southeast Nice Guy, Kurt Lancios. Well, Kurt, that is for sure. I would love to have Jesse Harms on. I have reached out to him. I have not heard back. Absolutely would love to have him on, and I have been trying for a while to get him. I have an idea for an episode that would include him, and I'm hoping that comes through, but he has to say yes. What do you think about having Jesse Harms on, Dave?
Oh, yeah. Like Kurt said, I mean, both sides of the fence for that guy.
Right.
So I'd love to talk to him. But like you say, and like Eddie Trunk always says, they have to say yes first before we can get him on the show.
Absolutely. And letter number 4 comes from Ignacio Mogani. And he says, Hi, Dave and Dave. I am a first-time emailer, and forgive me if this email is a tad long. Well, get out the blankets and the hot soup, Dave. So here we go. I gotta be honest with you. I've had so many bands I grew up with that it's hard to find the absolute best, but Van Halen surely is up there. However, if I had to pick a frontman, David Lee Roth is definitely the best. Absolutely no contest. And when he's not being a frontman, he's amazing to listen to. If David Lee Roth were a character from a video game, they'd have to test the shit out of it because his dialogue trees are incredibly complex, and he hardly ever states the same thing from one interview to the next. And since I'm a pretty young cub at 31 years old, I wasn't always around to see them when they came to South America back in 1983. And when I heard David Lee Roth was touring with Kiss, a misleading article led me to think he was on the rest of the tour and not just the American leg, which bummed me out. But still, I hope to see Dave, and I think Van Halen has sailed away and will just die off, which is something I hate. And I'm glad he's carrying on the torch for the rest of them out there. And when I was a little kid, I was only wanting to play the drums, and all that changed from the first time I heard Eruption when it came into my life, because it's experience, not a song. That sealed the deal for me, and now I wanted to play drums and guitar, and I thought Eddie Van Halen was the guitar god. The first albums I ever bought were Diver Down in 1984, preceded by Mailbag Made in America by the Blues Brothers, which was my very first. Not bad for my first threesome. And I gotta delve deeper into the Sammy/Gary era, but the stuff I've listened to is pretty cool. Anyhow, I wanted to discuss a bit about your show. I was listening to the Top 50 Worst and Best episode, and you mentioned Eddie passing on getting paid for Beat It, and I wanted to give some info. I'm not sure how much he would have been paid, but I do know that Vincent Price got $20,000, which would amount to a very decent sum of $53,612 in 2020. For his Thriller rap, which is absolutely awesome and only took 2 takes according to Quincy Jones. He was offered a percentage of the album's profits, but he declined. Boy, is that a mess. I believe this also had to do with the interest in MJ's singles before the album was released, since they did reasonably well, but weren't gargantuan. That had yet to be seen with the magic of videos. Toto deserved far more recognition for their work on such a gem of an album. Here's another Van Halen MJ connection. Ted Templeman suggested Steve Stevens to play on Michael Jackson's Dirty Diana since he had a solo deal with Warner Brothers. I don't think Steve gave his paycheck away like Eddie did, and it'd be cool to find how much he got for the track. Same thing with Slash were given to me. Anyway, your podcast is awesome, if not the best podcast I listen to. It's a joy to listen to the two of you discuss Van Halen with such passion, and your stern but fair reviews were fantastic. You make my work days much more enjoyable. Again, thank you for the long email, and thanks for taking the time to read it. Stay safe. Fuck the coronavirus. Ignacio Mogni. Thank you very much, Ignacio. Yeah, Eddie left a small fortune on the table with Beat It. I cannot believe that he got away with that, meaning Michael Jackson not paying Eddie Van Halen. Now, it is known, not only did Eddie do the solo for Beat It, but apparently he rearranged the song for Michael in a way that it came out. It's really sad to hear that. Now, to be honest with you, I've said this before and I'll say it again, that Eddie Van Halen being on Beat It really opened up Michael Jackson to a whole new audience, which is the rock audience. A lot of rock guys bought that album and were interested in it because Eddie was on there. Eddie was hot as a pistol at that time, and Eddie was the perfect guitarist to go in and do that solo, and it was really an incredible coming together. What do you make of that whole thing, Dave?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. It was a very nice letter.
Nice words.
And yeah, I mean, it seems like Michael Jackson, he didn't have to pay Eddie. Vincent Price didn't get any points.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, all this
got away with murder.
I mean, Michael made a lot of money to begin with, but he really made a lot of money, or the record company made a lot of money because nobody wanted any points from this album. It was crazy. Yeah. Interesting.
Unbelievable.
Interesting time.
Absolutely. And we are on to letter number 5, and this comes from Tom Jones from Gilbert, Arizona. And he says, Big Bad Dave's, I'll make this short and sweet. Best 2 consecutive songs on an album for Dave and for Sammy. Here are my choices. Dave, Hear About It Later in Unchained. Sammy, AFU and Cabo Wabo. Read this on the podcast this month, mofos. I Can't Be Disrespected 2 months in a row. Midwest, fucking Ron can kiss my ass. Whoa!
Ooh, fighting words.
Yeah, listen, Tom, we love Midwest Ron, all right? Let's not anger the bull, all right? You know what I'm saying? So he's we don't want to get Midwest Ron on a tear. So there's nothing wrong with Midwest Ron. And by the way, Tom Jones, you were in last month, so I don't know what you're complaining about. And I even have 2 of your letters in this month. You're the next letter as well. So, Dave, what do you say? What are your 2 consecutive songs on the Dave albums or Sammy albums? Which are your favorite 2 consecutive songs?
She's a Lady and Delilah. I'm sorry, those are Tom Jones songs.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Sorry, because I know Tom has never heard that joke before. Okay, so
it's not unusual, Dave.
Oh, well played, sir. Well played. So my favorite consecutive Van Halen songs, I actually had to think about this, and I actually had to look at the song orders.
Of course.
For the albums, because I noticed it was a little harder for me for the David Lee Roth era.
Really?
Because while I like individual songs, finding 2 in a row that were really, really classic and then stood out was a little more challenging for me than I thought. But at the end of the day, it took me all the way to get to 1984, where I picked Girl Gone Bad and House of Pain.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I dug really deep for that one.
You dug deep?
I did dig deep. And then for Sammy, I picked Pound Cake and Judgment Day.
Okay, well, we paired up on Sammy. That's exactly the pair I picked.
Wow, really?
Yeah, Pound Cake and Judgment Day. Without a doubt, that opens up the album. Fantastic choice. There with David Lee Roth, though, I was just before you in 1984, but I went with Drop Dead Legs and Hot for Teacher. So I'm a big fan of those two pairings. And yours was actually following my pair, so that's kind of interesting. And Tom Jones, he went out of his way on this one, Dave. Holy cow. So Tom Jones made this whole Excel spreadsheet. And Dave was grumpy about this, Tom, because you made him do work. And Dave doesn't like doing extra work.
Now I know why my children don't go for extra credit.
Yeah, there you go. So there was this huge grid, okay, where he had it set up almost like a tennis tournament. Imagine an entire graph where you have like a tournament schedule, and you have 2 songs against 2 songs, and they all pair up in a tournament, kind of like March Madness or something like that. So, for example, he had like Running with the Devil versus You and Your Blues, Women in Love versus Hang 'Em High, Drop Dead Legs versus Romeo Delight, and then the winners of each one would go on into the bracket and go on to round of 32, round of 64 to the round of 32 to the round of 16 to the round of 8, and it goes all down to the championship. And there was 2 sides of this thing, and then the winners of both sides go against each other and the winner. What did you come up with, Dave? What was your final winner?
The final winner?
Yeah.
Unchained.
Oh, that was my final winner, too. And
what a surprise!
Yeah, what a surprise. Dave and I's favorite song. We all could have told you that a long time ago. So what was your one that Unchained was paired against?
Romeo Delight.
Oh, interesting. So this is where some of the pairings, like I said, it was like Running with the Devil against... So here were some of the hot pairings I noted here, Dave. Was Drop Dead Legs versus Romeo Delight. Okay, for me, that was Drop Dead Legs.
Yeah, that was killer.
That was a killer.
Killer, that one.
Another killer one was Atomic Punk versus Feel Your Love Tonight. That was another killer. Another killer was Somebody Get Me a Doctor versus Bottoms Up. That was another killer. And then on the other side of the chart, a couple of killers were In a Simple Rhyme versus Sinner's Swing and On Fire versus Outta Love Again. Those were really hard. But then there are other ones which were easy, like the cross between Ain't Talk About Love and Bullethead. Obviously, Ain't Talk About Love won. Or Panama versus Girl Gone Bad. Panama won for me. But we all came up with Unchained. Why is that such a big surprise? It's not, because Dave and I have always said from the beginning that Unchained is the perfect Van Halen song. It best represents the band. It's got the band's sound in terms of the background harmonies mixed with a really crunchy riff, mixed with the kind of boogie swing, mixed with the humor, which with the David Lee Roth attitude. The whole thing is in one package. If you're going to play one Van Halen song to somebody who's never heard the band that characterizes the whole vibe and spirit of the band, it's going to be Unchained. So we've said that.
Dave, what were your final 4 songs?
Oh, my final 4? Okay,
yeah.
Hang on. I got to pull that out and just put it away. Okay, so Unchained and Ain't Talking About Love on one side, and on the other side was Drop Dead Legs and Jamie's Crying.
Wow. So I had Unchained, Girl Gone Bad, Dead or Alive,
right,
and Romeo Delight.
Oh, interesting. I love all those songs.
So Dave, out of all your selections, pick one that you think would surprise a lot of people. In other words, you picked one song over another.
Yeah.
And you think a lot of people would not have done that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see here.
While you're looking, I'll go and I'll give you a shocker. You ready for this?
Okay.
I chose Bullethead over Ain't Talking About Love.
That is fucking crazy.
What
are you, nuts?
I know.
That's
yes,
shocking.
I was.
Okay.
I know.
Let's see. Shocking for me. I don't know. Would Drop Dead Legs over Little Guitars be shocking?
That's a tough one, actually. So, not for me, though, because I love Drop Dead Legs.
Here's one. Between Bottoms Up and Dance the Night Away, I went with Bottoms Up.
Oh, I did too, actually.
Okay.
So
between You Really Got Me and DOA, I went with DOA.
Yep, me too.
Okay, let's see if there's any shocking ones here. Hang on. Between Beautiful Girls and Light Up the Sky, I went with Light Up the Sky.
Actually, I did too. I think you and I really went a lot more for the rocking songs.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll tell you what about this one. I'll give you one. Between Secrets and As Is, I went with As Is.
Oh, you're breaking my heart.
I broke your heart right there. Look at that. I stomped on it.
And actually, Secrets actually made it into the top 8 for me, but I did pick Girl Gone Bad over Secrets.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, there were some really tough choices there, but he did a good job.
There were. Yeah.
Definitely a good job. Letter number 7 comes from Gary Ashley from Evansville, Indiana. And he says, thank you guys for reviewing Balance last month. I had forgotten what a great album that was. By 1995, I had checked out of music for the most part. I checked my music library and I was missing Balance. Needless to say, I jumped on iTunes and I bought it immediately. And I have to agree with you. It is criminal that Crossing Over was left off the United States release. I had never heard of that song until the podcast